Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS Patch Notes video with me, Sherman. Today we're going to be taking a look at patch 7.3 and update 33, I believe, or 32, something like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's coming. So this is for the first DLC of the year for the Legacy of the Bretons, the year-long adventure. The first DLC features 2 challenging new PvE dungeons, Coral Airy and Shipwright's Regret, where you're tasked with investigating the remnants of the once proud All Flags Navy and assaulting a coastal hideout of the mysterious Ascendant Order. Completing these dungeons also gives you the opportunity to obtain a number of new item sets, collectibles, achievements, and more. Alright, so that's cool. As part of the free base game update, we're excited to add account-wide achievements. So an achievement you earn on one character will be shown as complete on all your characters. We've also added several new PvP item sets that are earned from Rewards of the Worthy and Imperial City. In addition to a unique PvP outfit style in the Crown Store, you'll find a new Deconstruction Assistant and multi-rider mounts for you to test during the PTS cycle. So before I get to this little last sentence here, well, let me go ahead and do that. We've copied all PC NA characters for this week's patch, which is approximately 2.31 gigabytes in size. We hope you enjoy the latest DLC and can't wait to read your feedback. So, before I get started and start talking about anything else, what I want to say is everything I'm about to say is based on my opinion. I'm not influenced by anyone else or anything else. This is strictly my opinion, and I'm actually reading these for the first time. I have not seen these. They just posted literally on the PTS Patch Notes, or on the forums under the PTS Patch Notes, and I'm super excited to read them because there's a lot of things that we're going to be going over that are literally game-changing and game-defining. This is really going to set ESO apart from a lot of other MMOs, and I'm super excited. I mean, super excited to get into this. First thing I want to say is I do apologize for mistaking the date release. It is on the 14th of March when this will go live, not the 7th. I actually got the 2 dates confused. And the Deconstruction Assistant. Somebody called me out on it. Yes, I forgot the Deconstruction Assistant. I do like the idea of it. I think that it'll be a great addition for those who want to use it. It's not something for me. I sell everything I find. And you know, because, no offense, if I need resources, I farm them. If I need money, I farm it. I don't deconstruct a lot of gear, mainly because, like, most of the stuff that I farm is going to be green, blue, or purple. And I have so much of the green and blue resource that I don't need more. I have a ton of, well, I wouldn't say a ton. I have quite a bit of purple resource, so I don't need a lot of that either. And I don't have a lot of gold resource, so it's like the gold tempering resource. So I don't break down a lot of gear. The idea of having a Deconstruction Assistant is great for those who need it. The multi-rider mounts, awesome. That's going to be great. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy having that, especially people who play together, like husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's going to be really great for that, or just friends who just want to goof off and spend some time together, having, you know, messing around and having fun. I think it'll be really good. Now, whether these will work in Cyrodiil, I don't know, but we'll find out. So let's continue on. So, of course, scrolling through all the essential garbage. Let's jump into this next part. So the 2 new dungeons, which we did get to see, look amazing. The Coral Airy is an oft overlook Isles Inlet among the Somerset Isles. Big trouble is brewing. Help the cagey Captain Colleen lead a daring rescue to rescue one of her former crewmates from the Ascendant Order and recover what they stole. So you're trying to recover Jakarn and his gear, which is really awesome. I can't wait. And then this next one, join Captain Zaji in the Shipwright's Regret, and for the quest to perfect the perfect pounce using the secrets of the finest shipwrights in Tamriel, provided that they can still be found in the rolling fog, thick overgrowth, and haunted remnants of the shipwright's regret. This one here, no offense to the devs, sounds to me like the most exciting of the two. I do like the fact that they're bringing Captain Colleen back and Jakarn, but I'm a fan of Zaji. I hate to say it, playing through the Dragon Guard DLC that came out for Elsewhere was so fantastic. Joining up with Zaji and his crew, and then on top of that, you get reunited with oh my gosh, Siphon was awesome. And if you haven't played the story yet, play it. It's epic, like one of my favorites. All right. Both dungeons include a normal version and additional challenging veteran version. I know I skipped these parts here, but this just tells their location. One's in northern Somerset, one's in eastern Rivenspire. But both dungeons include a normal version and, of course, challenging veteran version. Each dungeon also features challenging hard modes for each of the 3 boss encounters. This is something that they've been doing lately with the dungeons, is adding the hard mode for each boss encounter, which to me is great for veteran players, especially the elite players, like the players who are at doing this, that play this content specifically. Like, it's really great that they have that kind of thing added to the game that makes the content just a little bit more challenging for them and their groups. I'm still a normal veteran player. I'm not a big player of the hard mode. I do like it, but it's not my fan favorite. All right, so, and I do apologize for the phone. I can't stop it. So there are unique item sets, including 2 new Undaunted Monster Mask sets, only available within the dungeons. Achievements awards are body and face markings, 2 unique mementos, several titles, and housing items. I'm glad that they have all these things in as rewards for dungeons. It gives us something, it gives something for players to strive to earn or be rewarded with. But I do agree with a lot of people with the achievements. Like, this is the only achievements you're really getting now, and it's going to be account wide. So, like, a lot of this stuff is lost, like, for redoing. But in dungeons, it's not. In trials, it is. So I do agree with a lot of people on that. New item sets. So the Coral Airy, the first one is the Malag's Maelstrom. This is the light armor set. 2-piece adds max magicka, 3-piece adds healing done, 4-piece adds weapon and spell damage. I can already see the complaints coming through the forums. People are going to rage about this having weapon and spell damage on it for a healer set because of what it says on the 5-piece. On overhealing yourself or a group member with a direct heal, apply Malag's Maelstrom to the target for 6 seconds. That deals shock damage to enemies within 7 meters. This damage is based on 33% of the overhealed amount, up to 3,300. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. I've got ideas for this. I honestly do. I know a lot of people are going to look at it and think that it's not the greatest set, but we don't know how it works yet because we haven't had a chance to test it. The way it's worded is very misleading, because it says it has a 6 seconds that it deals shock damage. So is it every second for the 6 seconds? If that's the case, this is a really powerful set. And then how much damage is it really dealing every tick? Is it going to be the 3,300? Because if that's the case, then it's an extremely powerful set for a healer, especially in dungeons. Clearing dungeons is, I'm not going to say it's an easy task. It's a daunting task. Going through the trash to each boss can be very daunting for some people, and clearing it faster is what you want. So this might help in that process of clearing the trash easier when you're going through dungeons, especially with the healer. So I like this set. I think that it has its place. I also think it has its place inside of PvP as well, because I do a lot of overhealing in PvP. So this might be a good set for somebody like me to use in that sense. All right, Griffins Reprisal. This is the medium set from it. I don't want to get too far ahead here, but we'll look at the name of the next one. So 2-piece adds critical chance, 4-piece critical chance, and then it has offensive pen. I'm glad they're adding more of these types of sets to the game that have the critical chance and offensive penetration, because now, especially with what's coming to the game, we'll be able to use these sets on anyone. So now, moving on to the 5-piece bonus. When you deal critical damage, you and an ally can activate Griffins Reprisal on the enemy for 8 seconds, causing a small griffin to fly and deal bleed damage over 10 seconds to the enemy within 5 meters. The enemies within 5 meters. This synergy can be applied once every 20 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon spell damage. Now, here's why I like this. There's technically three really good bird sets in the game now. The first one is from the Clockwork City DLC, and it summons a swarm of ravens that circle you, I think it is, and then they like shoot out doing damage. With this, like thematic builds, a lot of people look at sets, and I've heard this especially lately with Bra We Got This. He's been doing he did a recent video talking about one of the older craftable gear sets, Oblivion's Full, and was like, this set's not very good because of these reasons. I agree to disagree. I think every set that gets added to the game adds a nuance to the game that makes it to where people can customize their characters with unique sets that give them a unique play style. Now, yes, I'm going to say this about Oblivion's Full. It's not the perfect set. If they fixed or adjusted the amount of times that you could apply the debuff on an enemy, like the effect on the enemy, like if the effect was whenever you hit an enemy with this buff or with this thing on them, it would do the extra damage. I think Oblivion's Fill would be a better set, but the fact that it only applies when you deal soul damage makes it worse, and it makes it sound bad. But it's actually a really good set when you learn to use it properly. What he was doing was he was spamming soul shards, or not soul shards, the dot skill that applies the damage, which is what you're supposed to do. You apply that, you let it tick through that, so it will spark applying that dot more effectively. You don't want to use that as a spammable. You want to use it as a skill that you apply and you leave, and then you wait and see if it has any effect. If it doesn't have a lot of effect from it, then yes, the set's not that good. But then it also applies with the beam, the soul assault, which will hit the target multiple times, and it will trigger that effect more often. It's the reason why he didn't see much use of it, is because he wasn't using it as effectively as he could. Now, I'm not saying that I don't agree with him. I'm saying I agree to disagree. Every set has its place, and just like this set, the building a character that's thematic about say somebody who is really into using birds and stuff, like a warden would work really great with this setup, because it fits the theme of having this ability to summon ravens and griffins and other bird type creatures into your arsenal to fight for you. It allows people to create and customize their characters to their benefits. Now, is that the best build you can make? No. I mean, using something like Reliquins with this set might be a good option because of the fact of how it works. And then throwing in the monster set that goes along with it. But I think you have to block to get that benefit, but we'll see. But I do like the way these sets are laid out so far. I think that they seem really good. Now, this is where things get a little crazy, because I've already know all these sets. I've already read all their like stuff. So Glacier Guardian heavy armor. So first off, 2-piece adds armor, which is great. 3-piece adds max stamina, which tanks can use, or anyone in heavy armor can definitely use some extra stamina. And then the health recovery. This is, in my opinion, the best part about some heavy sets, is when they have this 2 to 3-piece bonus that gives you the armor, it gives you the stamina, and then it gives you just that little bit of health recovery. Even though a lot of people don't build for health recovery, having that health recovery can make a difference in the way your character can function, and I think this really plays off of it. So the 5-piece, after successfully blocking from an enemy, they really need to fix their wording here. So after successfully blocking from an enemy within 8 meters, Tethered to them for 8 seconds. While tethered, you deal frost damage every second to enemies touching the tether and cause them to have a 200% increased status effect chance. The tether breaks if the target moves within 12 meters away and can be applied once every 12 seconds, and the damage scales off your max health. Alright, so here is where this set is a little too powerful. It applies status effects. A tank using this will be able to keep Major Brittle applied indefinitely, especially if you're a warden tank using Wall of Elements. You already get a 200% from using an ice staff. You already get 200% for using a lot of the ice skills that a warden can use, and then on top of that, you're getting another 200% increased status effect chance. If you're using a charged staff, along with all this, you pretty much got 100% uptime of Major Brittle. And the fact that it scales off your max health, that's the other thing that can make this a really powerful set. It deals frost damage, which also can apply Major Brittle. So the set seems too op, but it will depend on how effective it works. It does have a 12-second cooldown with an 8-second uptime, so you're going to have a 4-second delay to keep it up. So you're going to have roughly not 100% uptime, but you will have an 80% uptime, definitely. You know, because it has 8 seconds with 4-second delay, when you're in a fight and you think about it, like a lot of people aren't going to think about, like, oh, if I, you know, this, and the fact that you have to block an enemy within 8 meters. If you have an ice shield up and you're holding block with your ice staff or even a block with your shield, you're going to be blocking a lot of targets. So on a tank, this looks great. It looks super overpowered. All right, moving on to the Karagata Monster Mask. This is really, really great, by the way. The 2 one-piece bonuses are Max Magicka, which is 731, and 731 Max Stamina. This is way powerful because there's no monster set that does this, that gives you 2 stats simultaneously in this sense, where they just basically split the value of what, and not even split, like give you almost the exact amount, you know, of max stamina in Magicka and Stamina. That's a powerful benefit. On the 2-piece, though, on dealing damage with a heavy attack, you create a whirlwind that slowly moves forward for 8 seconds, growing by 3 meters every 3 seconds. Enemies within the whirlwind take shock damage and physical damage every second. Allies within the whirlwind reduce their Magicka and Stamina cost by 10%. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds, and the damage scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So, a lot of people have been saying, well, this is going to work really good on a tank, but I don't see that. And here's why I don't see that. One, a tank doesn't do a lot of, like most tanks in the game, especially in-game tanks, don't do a lot of heavy attacks. And on top of that, to create the whirlwind. On a DPS, you have a chance of doing a heavy attack, but it would be more likely to work better on a healer, because a healer is going to do heavy attacks with their resto staff for, one, resource return, and the fact that the resto staff also, heavy attack also heals their, you know, nearest ally, and the fact that they're going to get this shock damage with the physical damage, and they're also going to get that whirlwind that does that. And most tanks or healers also don't build for weapon or spell damage, so that the damage itself would be almost useless on those two. The effect, though, of reducing the cost of Magicka Stamina the Magicka Stamina cost of abilities by 10%, that's what's going to make the big difference, and it's going to make it a, I won't say widely used one on healers, but a lot of healers will look to this set as something that could benefit their group, especially with the 8-second uptime and the 20-second recast. Now, that means that in a fight, it might only be up 50% of the time, or even 60% if you're lucky, but still, that's enough time to get that extra reduced cost for in those burst moments where you have time to channel a lot of attacks through your group, applying dots and DPS, and you can get that heavy attack off right before then. This will help apply all these benefits to the group. The fact that it grows by 3 meters every 3 seconds, and without knowing the size of it to begin with, this is going to be a really great set. Alright, moving on to the Shipwright's Regret dungeon. The first set is the Storm Cursed Revenge. This is the light armor set. The 2-piece adds max magicka, the 3-piece weapon and spell damage, and the 4-piece adds offensive penetration. The 5-piece, when you deal shock damage, you have a 15% chance to deal shock damage to the enemy and up to 2 other enemies within 5 meters. This effect scales off the highest of your weapon and spell damage. And so it basically amplifies shock damage, especially like, and somebody else pointed this out, like if you're using a lightning staff, you're going to deal shock damage. If you're playing a Sorc with a lightning staff and you're using liquid lightning or the lightning splash spell, you're going to get this greater benefit with those 2 skills. Now, somebody was saying, well, there's not a lot of sets that this could benefit from, but there is. There's a lot of sets that also do shock damage, and the fact that a sorcerer can also activate a buff, a magicka buff, or a magicka casting buff, that increases their resistances and then swirls around them lightning damage. They actually have better options in keeping this affected, and on top of that, they get 5% more shock damage. This is going to make lightning staff, wall of elements, have the whatever you apply it, or use a lightning staff, you get a chance to shock more enemies around you. This is going to amplify that, and it's going to make it even better. So it's like you get this great combination of skill use with one class that makes it like almost unique to that class. And I think that's what the idea here is to create sets that are not only aesthetically pleasing and also have a purpose to be used with different kind of concepts or build ideas. It's also, some sets are just unique to certain classes and give them that benefit, which makes it really good for those classes. And I think that's what they're trying to do with the Stormcursed Revenge. It's a really nice sounding set. I like it. All right, Spriggans Vigor. This is a medium armor set. So 2-piece adds critical chance, 3-piece adds max stamina, 4-piece adds weapon and spell damage, and the 5-piece. When you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of wild growth for 5 seconds, and it restores 100 stamina, 10 stacks max. Each stack of wild growth increases your max stamina by 222. This effect can occur every 0.5 seconds. Now, that, in my opinion, is probably the most OP medium armor set we've seen in the game for a long time. You guys know that they're adding the ability for all skills in the game to scale off the higher max magicka or stamina, and it's only going to affect skills that apply to max magicka and stamina. There are some skills that can be cast with magicka, but it scales off your max health, and those ones I don't think are going to be affected by that. So this right here just became a hybrid's dream set. 1, it gives you the critical chance. 2, it gives you the max stamina. 3, it gives you the weapon and spell damage. And then whenever you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of wild growth for 5 seconds, and it restores 100 stamina every time it applies. And then you can gain a total of 10 stacks, and each stack of wild growth increases your max stamina by 222. This makes hybrid play a lot easier for some people because they can maximize their magicka and weapon damage, but they don't have the resources for their stamina to be able to cast certain stamina skills. This will allow them to stack this up, recovering a little bit of that stamina that they're gaining, and then on top of that, they can use stamina skills and then use the synergy to get resources back. So it plays off itself. It's a really unique set. It applies to those people who want to get into the hybrid play. It's great for that. And the fact that it has no cooldown, that means you can keep this up indefinitely if you're a good player, can make it a really powerful set for both PvE and PvP. All right, moving on to the heavy set. And I mentioned this before, I'm getting tired of the heavy sets being like this, but I want to talk about 2 to 3 piece first, or 2 through 4. Max health, max stamina, max health. That's a great set up for anyone playing in heavy armor or tanking even. I like it. Number 5. After successfully blocking, you gain flowing water for 10 seconds. Okay, can we get rid of some of this constant blocking in heavy armor sets? We need more sets that allow players to play other roles besides blocking. I mean, in heavy armor. If everything in heavy armor is just about blocking, what is the point of heavy armor? I like the concept of the set. I think it's a really powerful set. In fact, I think it's a little too powerful to some degree. But I like that we have it. I just wish they would quit doing the constant block sets. So you gain this flowing water for 10 seconds, causing your next bash attack to deal magic damage to up to 6 enemies in a 10-meter line, and applying major vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing your damage taken, or increasing their damage taken by 10%. This effect can occur every 15 seconds and scales off your max health. Okay. So the damage itself scales off at your max health. The major vulnerability is up for 10 seconds. You have a 15-second recast time with a 10-second activation, so 5-second cooldown. You can pretty much keep this up 80% of the time. On a person who knows how to tank, this is a godsend set. The fact that they already reduced, and I think they did reduce the occurrence time, because I think when they showed it on the live stream, I think it was 20 seconds, so reducing it to 15 makes this set even more viable and more necessary in a lot of different group types. And I think that's what's going to make it so used and so widely used, is the fact that it makes it to where you don't need a necromancer in your group to keep major vulnerability up, and the fact that you can apply major vulnerability to 6 enemies is going to make it a much more used set. I like the concept, I like the build, the idea of it, and I think that it's going to work out really well. I'm just tired of seeing block sets. I mean, come on, both the heavy armor sets are deal with blocking, so it's just getting annoying. All right, moving on to the last one, the Nazare set. This is the monster mask. So the first piece adds max health, which makes it sound like it could be really good for tanking, but it can also be really good for other things. When you use an ultimate ability, the closest 6 enemies within 12 meters have all damage over time, major debuffs and minor debuffs applied to them, extended by 1 second for 25 ultimate spent. This effect will not apply to damage beams or tethers. The effect can occur once every 20 seconds per target. So the set itself, you know, it sounds awesome. It sounds really good. It sounds like a little too powerful, especially if you have 500 ultimate. And the fact that you can make a lot of debuffs and major and minor debuffs and damage over time lasts for 20 seconds. And then you get 20 seconds on, you know, cooldown. This set has too much power, I think. And it will become the main tank set for most tanks at in-game because of what it can do and how powerful it really is. I think that this is a step too far into overpowered gear, and it needs to be toned back a little. I think making it to where the effect can happen every 40 seconds would be better, in my opinion, because it doesn't make it as a mainstay item. It makes it a set that can be used effectively in an organized group for those purposes of like the burst moments. But other than that, like it's too powerful as is, and that's just my opinion. I like the set, I like the concept, but I think it's too powerful. All right, so we are getting new collectibles and dies. The Guardian Frozen Shard Memento, which is from the Coral Airy, and it can only be gotten on the veteran difficulty, and the Maumur Ocean Pearl Memento, which is from the Seafaring Sleuth achievement, which can be achieved from the Coral Area as well. That's really cool. The markings are the Abyssal Embrace face markings and can be attained by doing Coral Area, and Abyssal Embrace body markings can be gotten from the Shipwright's Regret. And both of these do require different things. And then, of course, we have some new dies, the Drowned Cobalt, new achievements and titles, the Griffin Handler, Tide Turner, Coral Caretaker, Privateer, Ariel's Area Ascender, and the Shipwright. And if you guys want to read some more of this stuff, I will have the link in the description to the patch notes so you can read them also. New motifs are coming. The I can't even pronounce this, Analaric's Chosen motif will be on the PTS, and the Fargrave Guardian motif Cool. New furnishings, of course, and everything. Base game changes, account-wide achievements, and they kind of go over what they are. Motive crafting knowledge and achievement links. Undaunted progression changes. New PvP sets. So this is the first one. This is the light set. Rallying Cry. 2-piece adds critical chance. 3-piece adds max magicka. 4-piece adds critical chance. And then while Battle Spirit is active, critically healing yourself or your allies causes you and up to 11 other group members within 12 meters to gain 300 weapon and spell damage. Adds critical resistance for 20 seconds. Each group member affected reduces the weapon and spell damage. Group member affected reduces the weapon and spell damage by 15. And the critical resistance by 83. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Wow, I don't know if that's a curse, a good set, or a bad set. Like, in theory, it's a good set because it can apply up to 12 group members. So it works. It would be really good in Cyrodiil PvP, not in like it would probably work better in Battlegrounds PvP because you're only losing, like, the caster is only gonna lose 15 per 4 people that you heal. And if you critically heal them, and your critical resistance goes down by 83. But you also gain the 300 weapon damage and spell damage plus the critical resistance. So it's got its positives and negatives, and I think that for this set, it's really good. And I'm glad that they made it a set for some of these, like I was mentioning, that works in PvP primarily, and then you're going to have a few of these sets that could probably work in both. So let's move on. But I do like that. That's actually pretty cool. And I like how it has the positive and negative effect. It's something that I think is needed to make people want to use it. Like, you're going to have good and bad from this. So why wouldn't you use it? I mean, giving your group members 300 weapon and spell damage and critical resistance, and then for 20 seconds, and then each of those group members reduce your weapon and spell damage and then your critical resist. That's the positive and negative of it. I like it. I'm glad that it's in the game. I know a lot of people are going to bitch about it, but I like it. Hugh and Sunder. This is the medium armor. So 2-piece adds max stamina, 3-piece max stamina, 4-piece weapon and spell damage, 5-piece when you deal damage with a heavy attack, gain 36 offensive penetration for each enemy within 8 meters of you, of your target for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 7 seconds? Damn! That's actually really good. Because I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that would be a really good set for PvP. But in PvE, that's a really good set. Especially if you can add that on top. Because it adds offensive penetration. It doesn't add a debuff. It actually adds that much offensive penetration. So for some dungeon groups or even trial groups, this might be a great set to throw in on a tank or on a DPS. Just to get that extra offensive penetration. That's going to make clearing that content a lot easier and a lot smoother. But on top of that, even in PvP, that's going to be a great set. Like, I like how they're doing this. I like that they got these sets that work in both areas. So I like this Hue and Sunder. That's really cool. All right, Invenerating Aura, heavy armor, healing taken. Okay, max health. All right, max armor. All right, I like the sound of it so far. 5-piece. When you deal direct damage, you have a 10% chance to create an area under the target that detonates after 1 second, applying Invenerating Aura for 10 seconds. Invenerating Aura lowers the health recovery, magic recovery, and stamina recovery of enemy players by 129 per hit. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Well, watch out, people. Holy shit. That's a scary set. That's not even a scary set. That's a nightmare set. You lose health recovery, mag recovery, and stamina recovery by 129 per player hit. So if you hit an area, a target, and let's say you're in Battlegrounds, and let's say you're on one of the Battlegrounds with the lifted platform in the middle, and there's a lot of people there, if you can cover, like, depending on how big the area is, and it explodes after 1 second, applying this negative debuff, and it's per player hit, gets the minus 129, like, you just screwed everybody's recovery. And then on top of that, Now you can just decimate them. This is going to be a widely used set in Battlegrounds, I think. I don't think it's going to be so widely used in Cyrodiil because of, like, unless you're at a tower or you're in a keep. The like Overland in Cyrodiil, this is going to be garbage. But in Battlegrounds, this will be a great set. Flag holding, you just hit somebody with this and you deal the direct damage. You have a 10% chance to create the thing. If it goes off, they're screwed. Like, that's where this set's going to shine. That's really cool. All right, so now we're going to move on to the monster sets, the monster helms and shoulders for the Imperial City. So the first one is Nunatak. And this one has one piece of extra armor, really cool. On dealing frost damage, create an area under the target for 6 seconds that applies Chilling Bite every second. Chilling Bite deals frost damage and applies a stacking 25% snare for 4 seconds. At 4 stacks, the enemy is immobilized and gains major brittle for 4 seconds, causing the target to take 20% increased critical damage. The effect can occur once every 15 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. God damn. Like, what are you trying to do? Make tanks gods? Jesus. The fact that it applies a 4-second snare, everybody's going, oh, tanks don't really need that. Tanks need that. When you're in a trash fight, if you can drop a wall of elements and all of a sudden those people, the enemies caught in that wall of elements, just start melting because of the Chilling Bite, and then on top of that, the frost damage itself, and then you get the shield for you and your group, but you're also applying a 25% snare for 4 seconds, and it can stack up to four times, and then immobilizes the enemies and applies major brittle for 4 seconds. This is going to make trash clearing. This is a trash clearing monster set. When you're doing trials, this set will be the off-tank's primary set. Like, the best set for off-tanks to use, especially for trial groups, because of the effect of it. And the fact that you can do this every 15 seconds, and it scales up the higher of your weapon and spell damage, like, that part doesn't really apply too well to tanks too much, but an off-tank could actually take a little bit of weapon and spell damage in sets, set bonuses, or even an enchant or two, just to gain the greater benefit of this. And the fact that it lasts for 50, or it can be reapplied, or it lasts for 6 seconds and then 4 seconds and then this 4-second major brittle, but the fact that you can reapply it every 15 seconds, that's about how long it takes to clear most trash in most trials with even the most effective groups. So this is going to be a very powerful set for that purpose. PvP, only Frostcasters will get a benefit of this. And this is going to make Frostcasters become a big deal in PvP. And I think that's the point of it. Is it not only works in PvE, again, but it also works in PvP. So you get these two benefits from this set that make it a set that's powerful either way. And I love it. I think that this is going to be a great set. I probably will get it for my and I know a lot of people are going to say, what? I'm probably going to get this for my Necromancer because of the fact that I use an ice ability. So this is going to be really great for him, and this is going to be his new monster set. All right, moving on. Lady Maldiga? I don't know. I can't speak other languages, so that sounds cool. Adds offensive penetration. Uh-oh. When you deal direct damage to a target within 12 meters, create an area that after 1 second quickly moves forward and then returns, dealing shock damage and applying minor innervation for 5 seconds, causing the target to deal 10% less critical damage. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. The scales off your higher weapon and spell damage. Okay, that is going to be great in Battlegrounds. I don't know, like, for Cyrodiil, it's going to be great for towers and keeps, but like open areas, it's not going to be that good. I mean, honestly, it's not. For Battlegrounds, though, this will be an amazing set that you could use with like any of these sets they showed up here, especially like this one when you deal damage with a heavy attack. that's going to be really good. And then when you have this with the extra offensive penetration, like that's going to be really good between the two in that sense. Like it's going to work. These are going to be two great sets to combo in PvP. So I really think that's a really cool set. I really like it. It's not very good in PvE, or wouldn't be actually at all good in PvE, besides the shock damage part. But because I mean, reducing enemy, there's no critical. You don't take critical damage in PvE, so this is useless. But in PvP, it might come in handy. All right, Baron Thrisk. So adds stamp and mag recovery, really cool. On dealing area direct damage, mark a target for 6 seconds. Every 2 seconds after an explosive scamp is spawned nearby and detonates after 1 second, dealing magic damage to up to 6 enemies within 4 meters, and applying minor timidity for 10 seconds, draining 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Each explosive scamp spawned deals 100% increased damage. This effect can occur once every 25 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. All right, this is I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be pretty crazy. That's one of those things, like you see something and you don't think it's gonna be very good because of the fact that it drains, you know, for 10 seconds it's draining 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. You're not thinking it's gonna be very good. In PvE, this set would be garbage. Like, it honestly, it's a PvP set. In PvP, again, one of those things that I've talked about already. Battlegrounds, keeps, and towers. And the towers are mainly at the resource nodes, like the wood, the lumber mill, the mine, and the farmland. At the keeps, there's 3 towers around it. This would be great for defending those or trying to take those. This set can really F some people up, and that's what I would call it, an FU set. Like, that's what it is. I'm gonna F you up. Like, that's really cool though. I like it. It sounds good in theory. I like all these sets that I've talked about in theory, and in their interpretation of the explanation, they sound really good. All these do. But in use, we don't know until we can actually use them. But a lot of these sets sound amazing. They sound fantastic. A little too good. All right, moving on. New outfit styles. The Dragon Guard Berserker armor outfit style can be obtained from the Imperial City Vaults. This unique armor visual gives those dedicated to PvP a new look, and that is solely acquired through PvP activity. So you can only get this set or outfit style if you do PvP, and you can only earn it on one person. The things are purchased through Telvar stones, or you can earn the pages easier through Telvar stone multipliers, but you can only obtain one of these pages, these new style pages. And then to retain this prestige of the appearance of the items attained by building the outfit cannot be traded. So once you get this, you can't trade it. Like, you can't sell it, you can't get rid of it. You permanently have this, and that to me is what the game needs more of, not just in PvP, but also in PvE for achievement hunters and those who want to gain stuff that is rare and hard to get. That's a really cool idea. I like it, and I can't wait to see. So, item collection update. Within the update, when you unlock an individual piece of perfected item set, you will now also automatically unlock the same piece of its non-perfected counterpart. That is awesome. Oh, man. That's really awesome. Deconstruction Assistant, of course, they explain how it works. Can only be summoned out of combat. Can only be is only able to deconstruct weapons, armor, jewelry, and glyphs. And then players in your group and visitors can use it. Gilead can only be summoned while out adventuring in non-PvP areas. Using Gilead services awards inspiration, the same way deconstructing items at a crafting station does. So for new crafters, great item. The assistant does not allow for crafting or refining and will not allow you to access deconstruction for crafting skills you do not have. Okay. Multi-rider mounts, we already know about those. We're getting the horse and we're getting the spider, Dwemer spider. So, new furnishings. Lots of new furnishings here, it looks like. Holy crap. Alright, house server optimization. This update includes some optimization for many for when many people are in their own versions of the same home at the same time. Okay. You guys, if you want to read about it, you can. The High Isles prologue quest, which will be the one that comes before the chapter release. So this one will be on the PTS. Help Drakarn, the rogue, and his patron, the wild Willy Lady Ariel Devereaux, as they work to recover stolen magical medallions. Join them on an adventure full of secrets, political intrigue, and betrayal. Sounds really cool. To begin the High Isle prologue quest. Okay. All right, moving on. Lots of combat changes or fixes and things to different locations, like they always do. Not as many now as we will get with the chapter. All right, combat and gameplay. This is the big one. Player abilities that scale with your offensive stats, such as weapon damage and max stamina, will now dynamically scale with your highest offensive stats. So, as a heads up, the following abilities have not received adjustments to their scaling: Backlash and its morphs, Final Damage, Conjured Ward and morphs, Annulment and morphs. Alright. Player abilities that grant major savagery, prophecy, brutality, and sorcery now grant both of their respective versions, such as savagery and prophecy, in efforts to reinforce the accessibility of hybrid stat gaining. Note that players' passives and consumables that grant minor versions of these have not been adjusted at this time in order to preserve class unique power. Oh, that's good. So you will still need a DK and a Templar. They will only give major sorcery, the Templar will, and the DK will only give major brutality. That's cool. And it sounds like potions also are linked to specifically giving major brutality or major sorcery and major savagery, major prophecy kind of thing. Fixed an issue where joining or leaving a group could resummon or unsummon pets. Alright, Dragon Knight changes. Fiery Breath, Engulfing Flames. This morph's bonus damage taken now scales with a mixture of your weapon and spell damage rather than your spell damage and max magicka. The cap is reached when your combined weapon and spell damage is over 9,000. That's not hard to reach. That's awesome, though. I like it. That is cool. That's going to make Engulfing Flames, the Fiery Breath morph, the Magicka morph, really good on hybrids, and it's going to make it really powerful on hybrids. Searing Strike, Burning Embers. This ability now heals up to 100% of the damage done anytime it deals damage, rather than up to 75% of the total damage done when the effect ends. Fixed an issue where this morph's heal could critically strike, despite being based off of damage that could already critically strike. Okay. And they explain something here. This change was made to help offer the Dragon Knight more steady healing in the midst of combat, rather than locking the heal behind a more burst-like window where it comes in a massive clumps. Okay, that's cool. Spiked Armor, the return damage from this ability and its morphs now scales off the mixture of your physical and spell resistance rather than spell damage and max magicka to help reinforce its identity of a tank ability. This is incredible. Alright, Volatile Armor. The area of effect damage from this ability now scales off your physical and spell resistance. Dude, like, you guys are just making this awesome. I like it. That's cool. I'm loving these changes to the Dragon Knight. Really sounds good so far. Alright, Necromancer, Bone Tyrant, Bone Goliath, Pummeling Goliath. Fixed an issue where this ultimate's bash override did not receive the cost and cooldown adjustments that the core mechanics bash got. It now also it can now also proc enchantments or poisons. That is phenomenal. I love it. Gravelord, Shocking Siphon, Mystic Siphon. Fixed an issue where this morph's Magicka Restore was lower than the tooltip stated. Okay, so they fixed a bug. Skeletal Mage fixed an issue where the morph's damage was not increasing per attack as stated. Okay, good, you're fixing stuff. Living Death, Restoring Tether, fixed an issue. Okay, the heal from all of these abilities and their tooltips will now properly be tracked as area of effect. Alright. That's cool. I like it. Alright, Nightblade, Assassination, Assassin's Blade, Killer Blades. This is the more fixed issue where this ability could fail to be recognized as a class or executability in some rare cases. Alright. Grim Focus fixed an issue. Teleport. strike fixed in issue. So this was 30 meters instead of the standard 28. Fixed in issue where this ability in its morph's tooltip stated that it is an instant cast time rather than its true 400 millisecond cast time since time immemorial. Alright. Shadow. Path of Darkness made some back-end improvements to this ability and its morphs to improve performance. Refreshing Path. This ability now heals one less time over its duration as a result of the back-end adjustments mentioned above, but the total healing has been increased to ensure no changes in overall power have been made. Okay, that's cool. I mean, as long as they keep the effect the same, like the effect the same, not the time, I'm good with that. Siphoning, Strife. Increase the damage to this ability and funnel health morph by 5.6%. Alright. Sorcerer, Dark Magic. Crystal Shards. Crystal Weapon. This ability will now replace Imbue Weapon or its morphs after casting to help reduce the amount of burst potential it can offer with singular moments. Alright. Daedric Mines, fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs scaling coefficients did not match the expected ration of one weapon or spell damage to 10.5 magicka or stamina. This will result in it scaling less effectively with weapon and spell damage, but more effectively with max magicka or stamina. Cool. Shattering Prison, fixed issue where this ability's abilities damage was not considered an area of effect in many cases. Right. Bound Armaments, fixed issue where this ability was not being considered direct damage in some cases. Lightning Form, this ability in morphs now lasts 20 seconds at base, up from 15 to properly match the standard duration of armor buff abilities. Boundless Storm morph, this morph now ranks up to 30 seconds at rank up from 23, and this morph no longer ranks up 1.1% in damage. Hurricane, the area of effect from this morph now grows at 8 meters in 15 seconds rather than 6 and 11. Reduce the damage per tick by 8% down from 10%. The total damage bonus will reach 160 at max, up from 150%, resulting in slightly more damage. That is cool. I'm liking it. I like this change here to Lightning Form. It's really cool. Templar, Adric Spear, Burning Light. This passive now only deals magic damage rather than magic or physical damage, but continues to scale off your highest stats. Very cool. Focus Charge, Explosive Charge. Fixed an issue where the damage from this ability could not be dodged, similar to Stampede or Brutal Pounce. Alright. Biting Jabs, Puncturing Stripes. This is the Stamina morph. This morph now grants Major Brutality and Sorcery for 10 seconds after casting rather than Major Savagery for 8, as the Sunfire already grants Major Savagery and Prophecy now as well. This is actually pretty cool. I like that. Spear Shards. Increase the range of this ability and morphs to 28 meters up from 25. Reduce the radius of the ability to 6 meters down from 8 to match the visual effects and proper power budget. Alright, the range thing I'm happy about. The size, like, it's not going to make a big difference, but the fact that it's only going to cover a 6 meter radius in damage and to tick damage, that's going to be the problem. Alright, Shield, Sun Shield, Radiant Ward. Increase the shield scaling per enemy hit to 20% in rank 4, up from 9. That's a lot. That shield's going to be massive. Dawn's Wraith, Eclipse, Living Dark. Reduce the snare potency of this morph to 40% down from 60. Unstable Core, fixed an issue where this ability had 100 millisecond cooldown per effect rather than listed 1 second, which created situations where it was dealing significant more damage than intended. Okay. Restoring Light, Sacred Ground, fixed issue where the passive was not working with Ritual of Restoration. Alright. Warden, Animal Companion, Scorch, Deep Fissure. Increase the duration of Major Breach granted from this morph to 10 seconds, up from 6. It's going to make it pretty powerful. It's also going to make it really popular for a lot of people. Not just Magicka people now, but Stamina people will be able to use it. Swarm, Growing Swarm, and its morphs. This morph now limits the number of active targets you can have it on to 1. Increase the damage in the area of effect portion of the ability by 50% to make up for the new limit. Holy cow, that's crazy. That'll be pretty cool, though. I like that they added the area of effect to it instead of making it spread to new targets. Well, it can spread to one new target, but that's cool. Green Balance, Fungal Growth. Increase the healing from this ability in its morphs by 12.5% to meet the new area of effect burst heal standards. Its cost remains the same since it covers significantly less area than others. Healing Seed made some back-end improvements to this ability and its morphs to improve performance. Fixed an issue where the synergy granted from this ability in its morphs Harvest was not playing visual or sound effects. This ability now prioritizes lowest health enemies with major defile. Rage Weed season is coming. Cool. This is the change I've been waiting for. Lotus Flower. Reduce the cost of this ability is more down to $13.50, down from $29.70. A lot of people thought they were going to raise it. They lowered it. The base ability now grants major prophecy and savagery while active. Green Lotus. This morph now increases the number of targets healed to 2, up from 1. It also increases the healing of your light attacks to 1,500, up from 1,320, and your heavy attacks to 4,500 at rank 4. That is awesome. Oh my god. Lotus Blossom. This morph now increases the duration of the effect to 60 seconds. Oh my god. Sorry guys. This is like one of my favorite skills to use on my druid character, or even my nature's guardian, because it's such a powerful skill. People don't realize, like, a light attack healing for 1,500 per hit. Like, you use a resto staff, or you're using a fire staff, you throw out a light attack, boom, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. And now you can heal 2 targets? That's awesome. But the fact that it also applies major prophecy and major savagery makes it work really good on my druid and my nature's guardian, because both of them use dual wield and a... well, one uses dual wield and a bow, and one uses dual wield and a resto staff. So the dual wield resto staff one, which you haven't seen yet, is going to be pretty awesome. And it's going to make up a really good portion of the damage, because if you're up close and you're in medium armor, you can hit a couple light attacks off, man, and you're just healing people like crazy. Now it'll heal for 2. Green Lotus is going to be really good for healers. Lotus Blossom for more of a support character. Nature's Grass. Reduce the healing from this ability in Nature's Embrace. Morph by 10%. Okay. Bursting Vines. Reduce the healing from this morph by 25% to ensure it is not stronger than the other burst heals abilities, such as Rest Ceremony. Alright. I'm cool with that. This is what I want to see. Crystallized Shield. Shimmering Shield. Fixed to ensure the major heroism would not refresh from this ability after activating once. Okay. I was hoping for something more. Ice Armor, Ice Fortress morph. Increase the duration of this morph to 25 seconds, up from 24 for slightly easier alignment of ability times. Okay, that's cool. Weapons. Critical Charge, Critical Rush. This ability now ranks up in cost reduction. Instead of 1.1% in damage, reduce the base cost to 3510, down from 3780. That's cool. Momentum. This ability and morphs now also grant major sorcery for the duration. Forward Momentum. Increase the final cost of the ability to 3240, up from 2170. Alright, oh, but it gives you the major and minor buffs provided for 40 seconds, up from 20. Okay, I like it. I like it. Like, yeah, okay. I'll take the increased cost with the increased duration. Oh my god. Reverse Slice. Increase the cost of this ability to 2430. That's a little too much, from 2160. Executioner. This morph no longer ranks up 1.1% in damage per rank, and instead reduces the cost per rank. That's kind of cool. Reverse Slash. This the morph slash damage now ranks up 100% of its original hit, up from 78% at rank 4. That makes Reverse Slice pretty powerful. One-handed Sword and Shield. We all heard about this. The Power Bash. The damage from this ability and its morphs are now considered bash damage and interrupts casting targets. This means the damage will increase with bonus to bash, as well as triggering events that require you to deal bash damage. It will not, however, inherently cost reduction bonus to bash. Alright. Power Slam. The bonus from this ability Resentment no longer stacks up to 10 times. It now simply increases the damage of your next power slam by 33%. Alright, let's see what they have to say. In efforts to inject some life into an incredibly niche playstyle, which significantly amped up the viability of bash builds by giving them a true spammable, we are aware of how much power is behind bash builds. However, so we'll be keeping a close eye on the functionality. Okay, yeah, I do admit that bash builds are pretty big. I don't know how many of them I've faced in PvP. Shielded Assault. Increase the shield granted from this up more 25% of your max health up from 15. And Invasion, and reduce the cost to 3510 down from 3780. Alright. Dual Wield. Flying Daggers. This ability in Smurfs no longer, or now also grant Major Sorcery. Awesome. Flying Blade. This the base version of this morph of this skill now also grants Major Brutality and Major Sorcery after casting rather than only after using the teleport version. Increase the damage of the teleport version to 50% to better reward its use. Oh wow, Flying Blade just became pretty awesome. Like, that's going to be great on like assassin players who like to be stealthy and sneaky, even in PvE or PvP. Like, that's going to be a really good skill for that. Bow. Arrow Spray. Bombard. This morph no longer also snares targets. The morph now reduces the cost of the ability rank up rather than increasing the duration of the negative effect on it. The immobilize remains to be 4 seconds as it was at rank 4. Okay. I don't know how I feel about it. That's cool, I guess. I liked using Bombard a lot. Alright, Poison Arrow, Venom Arrow, Morph. This morph now grants Major Brutality and Sorcery for 10 seconds after casting. Venom Arrow just got a buff. Awesome. Alright, Restoration Staff, Blessing and Protection. This ability and its morphs now follow the area of effect burst heal standards, and as such have an increased cost to 4860 up from 3510. Increase the healing done from Blessing and Protection and Combat Prayer by approximately 36%, and the duration of the effect to 10 seconds up from 8. Blessing of Restoration Morph. Increase the healing done from this morph by 12.5%. Increase the duration of buffs improved to 20 seconds up from 16. The Blessing of Restoration looks really good now, guys. Like, that's going to be an option. Steadfast Ward, Ward Ally. This morph now reduces the cost of the ability as it ranks up, rather than increasing the size of the shield per rank. Alright, that's cool. Soul Magic, Soul Trap. This ability and its morphs now deal magic damage, but its damage will scale dynamically. Vampire, Vampiric Drain. Increase the damage done from this ability and its morphs by 50% per tick. Wow. Werewolf, Piercing Howl, Howl of Agony. Fixed an issue where this ability's bonus damage to the target facing you could fail to work in many situations. Pounce, fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs override abilities. Carnage could be dodged and blocked despite being damaged over time. You know what's really cool? Magicka players can play werewolves now. And stamina players can play vampires, which is freaking awesome. Guild, Sigic Order, Imbue Weapon. This ability and its morphs now all cost 2,700 rather than 2,715 for the stamina version, and 3122 for its Magicka morph. Okay, I'm not going to even read that. I mean, it's a cool, I like using it, but Alliance War, Assault, Magic Detonation, Proximity Detonation, Morph. Fixed an issue where this morph was not properly scaling with your max stamina. If it was higher than your max Magicka. Alright. Champion System, Fitness, Sustained by Suffering. Fixed an issue where the passive was activating off some effects it shouldn't have. Alright. Itemization of item sets. Fixed numerous issues with where sets weren't based on damage or healing were not properly labeled as such. Correcting confusion. Alright. Does it list all of them? No. Or applying status effects. The most noticeable fix was also on sets such as Aegis Caller and Thunder Caller could trigger Dark Conversions, or where Dark Conversions could trigger Hrothgar, leading to insane wombo combos for one minor input. Okay. Ability altering weapons. Piercing spray fixed an issue where this set could fail to grant its bonus to bow attacks. Crafted sets. Paladin's Wrath fixed an issue. God, that's so sad. Final take a damage from this set could return as 0. Alright, Curse of Dolomex on the Dungeon Arena sets. Fixed an issue where the set could proc on the same attack that triggered a stun, in some cases bypassing the intended counterplay of the set. Fire Blossom fixed an issue where the set could fail to deal damage in many cases. And Noble Duelist Silks. This set now adds 2,681 weapon and spell damage to your light and heavy attacks rather than adding 1,811 damage to these attacks. Cool. On an Infiltrator Unweaver, the set now adds 214 weapon and spell damage to your light and heavy attacks rather than adding to these attacks. Okay, that's cool. Monster Masks. Groglock the Destroyer fixed an issue where the set could fail to remove the stacks in some cases. Molokina fixed an issue where the set could activate in situations it shouldn't have. Mythical items. Pearls of Elonafe fixed an issue where this set could proc from cost abilities as well as such abilities while out of combat. Okay. Overland Queen's Elegance. This set now grants Empower for 3 seconds after completing a fully charged heavy attack rather than adding 2,600 damage to your next direct damage attacks. See, why didn't you do this in the first place? Queen's Elegance was a great set until you nerfed it. PvP source. Dark Convergence. Fixed an issue while this set was failing to apply its damage bonus. Hrothgar's Chill. Okay, yeah. Trial sets vestments of Olorum. Fixed an issue with this tethers, unlike other item sets that share similar proc conditions. Item systems. Alright. Any other crazy stuff we need to know about? Lots of fixes. Lots of things. I'm not going to go through all this. This is a lot. Okay. Gamepad looks like it got some fixes to some things that it much needed. Thank God. People don't realize, like, this gamepad mode is for PC. But there's a lot of people who come from consoles and play on PC, and playing with a controller sometimes for them is a lot easier. So having all this stuff work is great. But that's pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this read through and stuff. And remember, this is just my opinion on all these changes. I do not reflect anybody from anywhere other than myself. So what I have to say is directly my opinion. And if you don't agree with it, that's okay. You don't have to. I'm not saying everyone has to agree with me. But I do think that a lot of the changes and the things that they talked about in these patch notes sound amazing. And the new gear sets look great. I think that they have their purposes and their uses all over the game, you know, and in specific situations. But I do think that all of them have their place. The new dungeons sound amazing as always because the team has been doing a fantastic job with the art and the art in environments and the mechanics and in the layout of the dungeons. They've been doing just a great job with all of that, and I am super excited to see where this all goes. So, unfortunately though, you know what that means. It brings us to the end of this video. So if you have anything to say about the video, any comments, anything like that, please leave them in the description below, or leave them in the comment section below. Also check the description below for the patch notes themselves, and other than that, if you like watching this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. If you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell to be notified when you when I post new videos. It also helps the algorithm to allow my videos to be seen a little bit more, which is great. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.